never seen.
Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Welcome to the first of 4 best of 2024s that I'll do. This one, my favorite new to me commercial regular albums that I picked up. My favorite 30 of them anyway. All right, why are so many of these new to me? You've heard me say this a million times, but I was a huge collector in my teens, the 80s, all right? After that, life got real, moved out, rent, bills. Still a collector. Maybe 10 or 20 albums a year I would get, but probably seemed like I got rid of as many as I got for a long time there. So just getting back into it, but I have a lot of catching up to do, as you'll see right now if you didn't already see. And by the way, yes, that fireplace is glitching. I don't know what to do about it. All right, I have to get on with the show here. So hopefully that makes it for an interesting channel though, in a way, because most people my age in their 50s, they never stop collecting. They've had all this stuff forever. So I'll give you my take on as a first time listener to these often vintage albums, classic albums. You know, some of these go back, I think, to the late 60s. So anyway, that's for you to decide whether it's interesting or not. So this past year's collecting, some of the highlights of it, really backed off buying batches of CDs off of eBay. I was doing that in the front part of the year, but you know, these are sellers with hundreds of CDs, usually fixed price, $2, $3, $4 each. That's how I got a lot of that stuff back there. And you know, I did some of that, like I said, in the front part of the year. I pretty much backed off the last 6 months. I don't think I've done it at all, honestly. Between the backlog of CDs I already had, and it was an 82 CD haul at one record store this past September, just a few months ago. Recently reorganized those shelves back there. I had 240 albums I haven't heard yet. CDs, okay? I put the brakes on the eBay purchases, like I said, so at least until I get through some of this backlog. Japan CDs, I started ordering from a used CD site. They have bootlegs. They also have regular commercial albums too. Maybe got a dozen or 20 off of that site. So I think there might be just one of them in here, but I've got a bunch of them this past year also. I haven't gotten to them all. That's the thing. eBay, lots from one band. I did get a bunch of Sabbath and Ozzy stuff in one. I think it was a dozen title haul. I got a dozen title Almonds haul, but I think that was all bootlegs. Just yesterday though, this is a nice score. I'll do this unboxing when it comes. Nabbed a killer lot of 6 early presses, a solo artist from the 80s, his entire solo discography just from the 80s. He's still around today, but got all of his earliest stuff. So I'll unbox that. I'm pretty excited and happy about that. But all in all, probably nabbed another 200 or 300 albums and CDs this year. A couple vinyls. You've seen them along the way as monthly hauls. I think I did a monthly haul every month except for a couple months in the summer. I always featured 13 albums on each of those. And here are my favorite 30 out of all those. I'm not saying these are the best. I'm just saying for one reason or another, these are my favorites, okay? I'll throw the reasons in there along the way. Now, you could probably redo this list every day and come up with a different order, depending on what I'm into and how much I get into it. Because some of these things I've only heard once, a couple of them, and they're still left enough of an impression to be on this list. So let's get some porridge going first. I got a couple real beers in the house now, loaded up on some whiskey, Baileys, the whole bit. I'm going to try this one. This was in the holiday section of IPAs. Hardywood, am I saying that right? Richmond, Virginia. They have 2 different brews. I'll be trying the other one on another show if it lasts that long. I only bought one of each. Bourbon Barrel. Oh, I love that stuff. GBS, whatever that stands for. Spiced milk stout aged in bourbon barrels, hopefully longer than a minute, like that Oak Spire. 12.2 alcohol. I don't usually go into the double digits these days, but you know what? I haven't had a drink yet today. Sun just went down. I think it's about 5 o'clock where I'm at. Oh, I'm full, by the way, too. I just pigged out. So, all right, that's looking tasty. And holiday spicy and all that other stuff, man. I love these stouts. They're kind of like dessert beers, I guess, in a way. But you know what? It's early enough. I'll recover and get to my main drink in a little bit. Let's see how this is. It's a good milk stout. Just a sprinkling of seasonal spice, if you want to call it that, which it doesn't say what the spicing is. Good, tasty beer. Sounds good to me. A little shout out to Lounge Dweller. He's been a viewer here since the beginning, and nothing but very good or great suggestions from that dude to you if you're watching movies, CDs, and stuff. So this first one was one of his. That's why I'm mentioning him now. So let's get into it. Number 30 will be solo album from, you know him from Thin Lizzy, you know him from playing with Floyd since I think the Animals toured '77. Snowy White solo album from 1983 called White Flames. Now, man, if you are into Snowy White from Thin Lizzy and from his playing with Floyd live, man, be ready for something completely different. All right, this is more up the alley of if you're a Jeff Beck fan, his sort of fusion phase. Okay, lots of fusion guitar here and band backing him up also. Not for the faint of heart, to put it mildly. In fact, I doubt that any big Jeff Beck fan doesn't know about this album. White Flames from Snowy White at number 30. Number 29, Crosby Nash. Another Stony Evening live album from 1971. It wasn't released until 1998. This is from one show. That would be October 10th of 71. Just them two unplugged, no band. And 4 of these songs would be on the 1972 Crosby Nash debut. You got some solo songs from each of these guys and a couple Crosby, Stills, and Nash songs on here. And it's just a great performance, as you could imagine. These guys are pretty much at their peak at this stage. So, Another Stony Evening is the name of that one. And they got that from that name from a bootleg that was called that. But it was actually from another gig. So, might not be all from, I mean, I'm not saying there are no overdubs on that, but it's pretty cool that it's all from one show, at least. Speaking of live albums, Traffic comes in number 28, On the Road. This was recorded in Germany, April of 73. Originally, it was just 4 songs on vinyl album. Now it's a 6-song CD. Muscle Shoals rhythm section here alongside Steve Winwood, Jim Capaldi, Chris Wood, and Rebop on percussion. Really love this shout out at the Fantasy Factory. The title track on here. Glad and Freedom Rider as an opener. The whole album's really good, to be honest with you. This is a really good album. There's not much in the way of bootlegs, especially soundboards in the 73, 74 era of Traffic. So I'll take this live album. Not sure, like I said, if there's overdubs on this or not. It's a pretty cool listen, though. I'll tell you that much. Now, those first 3 may be better albums overall, but I was pretty happy to finally own the 4 Black Sabbath albums with Tony Martin. I already had Eternal Idol 15 years ago. It's the other 4 that were in Anno Domini that I needed. And I would put at number 27, Black Sabbath's Cross Purposes. So my least favorite out of that box set. A few great songs. And overall, it's consistently good. Although I'd say that's probably where it is. It's consistently good. Not much in here is very good. A couple songs very good or excellent though. But overall, it's pretty much just a good album, solid album. But very cool to finally own this thing. And at some point very, very soon, I'll review the whole box set. All right, let's get through these best of 24s. And all right, even this What's the Use bonus track's a really good song, actually. One of the better ones on here. And we'll talk all about that coming up. Number 26, Jefferson Starship's Red Octopus. Very good album all the way through. This is their second album as Starship. Now, some shades of Airplane in here, but the sounds is at least, I think, fully committed to the more modern approach that these guys had. The overall sound, hard rock. You got ballads or slow ones like Miracles. LP spent 4 weeks at number 1. That tells you something. It's good throughout. That's the thing about it. Fast Buck Freddy's really good. Play on Love. There Will Be Love. The song at the end of the album is great. You know, I also picked up this year the previous album, their first Jefferson Starship album called Dragonfly. I did not really enjoy that a whole lot. you know, it sounds like they're reluctant to move on to a new sort of venture, winding, twisting songs with very little melody. Lots of more presence by Grace Slick, and not that I'm against Grace Slick, but the songs on there by her are not very engaging to me, and it seems more like a Jefferson Airplane album and not a very good one, where this one they're just moving forward into the hard rock and they do it successfully, and it's really good. Red Octopus. That's from 75. Now here's one from 2012, Joe Walsh, Analog Man, produced by Jeff Lynne. Yet another strong album from Joe Walsh. I guess this is actually more of a return to form for him, because his 70s stuff and early 80s stuff is incredible. Now, as the 80s went on, early 90s albums less and less good by all accounts. I haven't heard every song. I haven't heard most of the songs on those albums. I do want to get them anyway, but popular opinion is that he was really losing it by the time he joined the Eagles in 94 as a solo artist. So this album's really good. Was pleasantly surprised with this one. I've only heard it once, or maybe twice. I feel like it was just once all the way through and started at another time, and it still left enough of an impression to be 25th favorite new to me album of 2024. Can we just get rid of this? I'm going to turn the fireplace off. Okay, what's the point of that? Wi-Fi bullshit. All right, now number 24, another album from Sabbath. This one, 1989. Let's do Headless Cross. It's interesting enough to me to jump over those other albums I already mentioned. This one not great, although the title track I think is the best song Tony Martin ever did with Sabbath. Just an ass kicker. A couple other good songs on there. Like I said, we'll go over this in detail coming up soon enough. But Headless Cross, pretty good album. Keyboards, a little more of a presence than I would have liked. Songs, that's the whole problem with that era. Most of these songs are just your standard run-of-the-mill sort of, what would you say, construct, okay? Verse, chorus, you know, it's just nothing changes up much the way old Sabbath used to do. They kind of remind me of just 100 or 1,000 other metal bands by this point. No longer leaders, basically just one of the pack. But that's not to say there still aren't some good songs on there. Still Iommi kicking ass on guitar. All right, so I'll list my favorite 16 Tony Martin tracks when we get to that thing finally. Number 23, America's Live at the Hollywood Bowl, vintage recording from 1975. Newly found tapes, as they say. And you have producer George Martin orchestrating in the background, although I don't think it's very well heard, most of the songs that he did that for. But nevertheless, the first live album from America with the original trio. Other live albums have only been post-77 after Dan Peek left. So nice to finally have some classic America Live. And I'm a huge fan, so that's a really good album. Number 22, another Sabbath from that box set. This one, Forbidden. This one's a little more hit or miss compared to, might not be as consistent as Headless Cross or Cross Purposes. But I think when it's on, it's really on. And there's 3 or 4 really great songs on here, okay? Maybe 1 or 2 more than those other albums have. And I like the production. This remix is amazing, you know. This sounds better than the other 3 albums in that box for sure. And another good bonus track. What was this one called? Loser Gets It All. Really good song too. So Forbidden comes in at number 22. Number 21, David Crosby, If I Could Only Remember My Name. 1971 debut solo album. Another one that I only heard once. Maybe twice. I don't know, because it was in the early part of the year, going back 9 or 10 months now. But still left enough of an impression. I'm not sure why I'm surprised that there's some CSNY participation going on in songs that sound like they could have been Neil Young songs, Crosby, Stills, Nash songs. I guess because it was solo, I was just thinking it was going to be something just very different, and it's really the opposite. It's quite the CSNY sort of affair here, okay? Maybe a couple more songs, more solo-ish than band-ish. But man, it's a great one. Music is Love, I think that's the opener. Cowboy Movie, that one sounds like Neil's on it, playing on it, singing. Some moody pieces that Dave is always known for. Song with No Words, I guess, is the one that comes to mind here off of this. Excellent album from David Crosby, comes in at number 21. Number 20, Rod Stewart, Footloose and Fancy Free. All right, 1977. I think he's got a couple of really solid albums right in this era. Atlantic Crossing's another, but I haven't even got to that, all right? I've only heard about it and heard a few songs from it, but I can't wait to get to that. That would be 76. This one's from 77. Solid rockin' album. You got the ballad in there of You're in My Heart. You got a kick-ass version of You Keep Me Hanging On. Of course, Carmine Appice, the drummer in here. Rod, solid on this. I think it's an only 8-song album. Yep, but it's a great one. Footloose and Fancy Free. Rod Stewart coming in at number 20. Coming in at number 19, Robert Palmer, Secrets from 1979. I think I said that this was 74 on a recent episode. I apologize, that was wrong. This is his 5th album from 79. His most popular up to that point for sure. Dr. Doctor, the opening song, or it's actually called Bad Case of Loving You. I don't even like that song, all right? So you can just skip through that and get to the others, and it's a really good mix of all different styles. It's pop, it's rock, it's soul, it's reggae, but most importantly, a lot of these songs are just plain good, you know. Pleasantly surprised with this one. It kind of led me into an artist I have nothing from, you know, never really heard other than that crap from the 80s video era. I also like 1975's Pressure Drop a lot, but this one is just a better album, I think, overall. So at number 19, Robert Palmer, Secrets. Number 18, some Styx. And we're going back to 76, which is a cool era because we're not even into any of those sort of radio hits yet at all. Not even the title track. It's probably the best song. And Styx, not a band that I'm like huge into. I'm not huge into prog. These guys, nice mix of prog and rock, you know. This is their 6th album. I always loved that title track because they had a compilation, classics, Styx classics from the 80s. Crystal Ball was on there. I think Mademoiselle was on there too, and that's a really good one. Another one that I haven't played since early part of the year. I just remember the whole album being really good. So Styx, Crystal Ball, even though I haven't played it in 6 or 7 months, going back to summer at least, still gets the number 18 spot for me. Here's another artist I had nothing from before picking this guy up. I think this was a $4 bargain bin job too. What a score there. Paul Di'Anno, Wrathchild, the Anthology, double CD, 2-disc compilation, really solid one. Everything on here is really solid. His solo stuff, his sort of cover versions of the early Maiden songs with his solo band, and there's plenty of cover songs on here too. Everything's good. A couple of the covers are a little weird, but you know what? I like the points for effort. You know, he really went out on a limb doing some of these songs, and most of them come across really cool. More than happy with this pickup. All right, and by the way, Paul does the early Maiden songs more than does them justice on here. His solo band sounds great doing them. I almost kind of like them a little bit better, to be honest with you. I know there's people who are going to be like, dude, you're nuts, but not really, man. Listen to them again then, because they sound solid to me. Now, I'm not a huge early Maiden fan, per se. I'm more of the early Dickinson stuff. But I just like the updated sound on it. But anyway, Paul Di'Anno's Wrathchild, the Anthology, gets number 17 for me. Number 16, Demon. I had the first album, Night of the Demon. I had the third album, The Plagues. I was missing the one in between. That's The Unexpected Guest from 1982. Really good one. These guys are mostly known as the hard rock band with the metal logo and the metal album covers, whose sound is only really hard rock at best, right? It's decidedly hard rock, though. All right, you hear. Well, it's not really heavy at all. It's kind of heavy, all right, but not distorted heavy, just hard rock, as you would suspect that would sound like. I invite you to look beyond that moniker. Check these guys out. The second album kind of continues where the debut leaves off. Solid overall. A few just okay songs, but a few that are very good, and a couple that are awesome. My favorites on this would be Strange Institution, Don't Break the Circle, and Sign of a Madman is really good too. So there's like 3 or 4 really good songs on here. Check that one out. Last one from the Black Sabbath box set. My favorite album on that one is something I don't think I heard a damn thing from before, except for maybe, I don't know, the intro, you know, I don't know. Something short on one of those concert videos where they didn't play a full song, just use the intro music. And that would be Tear from 1990. The most consistently very good Tony Martin era album, I think. Now, I agree Eternal Idol is very consistent too, but just okay to good consistent, where I think this one I find to be just a little bit better. There's some songs, I'd say this one's consistently very good. So there's the difference. Just a little bit more interesting songs. They sound more Sabbathy to me too. There's some chances being taken here, you know. Eternal Idol, probably the safest of all their albums, you know. I get it if you like it. It is consistently good throughout. Not a lot of ups and downs, but that's not what I'm looking for with Sabbath. I like that some of these songs go from acoustic to heavy and so forth. Short intros that lead into bigger things. This is more my style. I'm really happy with Tear. Doesn't sound awesome. I wish he would have remixed this one too. My favorites from this, Anno Mundi and Valhalla. Lawmakers also awesome. As usual, the deep cuts tend to be the best, all right? I think the single was it Feels Good to Me or something. All right, on to number 14. That would be Thin Lizzy's Thunder and Lightning. Working my way up to having all their albums. This one is a really good album. I have videos that have most of this album on it, even though the CD's new to me. So really only a couple songs on here are new to me. Your Japanese Vertigo version. Lizzy's one of my favorite bands, so it's good to finally have this album. It's a good album with some great songs. Not as many great songs as prior albums had. I still need Renegade though, so I'm not including that one in there. Not one of their best overall albums, still pretty damn good. That's how good Thin Lizzy is. One of their least worthy albums is still pretty solid. All right, now I think we're getting into excellent territory. I don't think you can argue that any of these albums I'm about to talk about aren't great. This is great. I'm down with the Hardywood Bourbon Barrel GBS. I'm still wondering what that stands for. All right, number 13, it's The Who's Tommy. That's right, I never owned this album. You know, of course, 6 or 8 of these songs were probably on the radio through the years, back in the 80s when classic rock ruled. This is my first time hearing the entire album. When it got done, I just let it play again. That's how much I liked it. So the first listen turned into the second listen immediately. Now, I don't know if I went back to it, so I need to hear it again, but still really kind of like it, you know. I'm not much for following the story lyrically in here. I'm just looking at it overall as a good, solid rock album. I enjoyed it very much. Bigger Who fans, I'm sure, would have this higher in their list, but I like The Who a lot, but they're not in like my top 10 favorite bands, but that album's really damn good. All right, here's one I got into late 2023. Continued to listen to it into early 24, so that's allowed, all right? And that would be Ozzy's The Ultimate Sin, an album that I just, for whatever reason, never got all these years until last year. Title track's awesome. I knew that going in. Killer of Giants, Shot in the Dark, of course. A couple other really good ones. I don't know if they're excellent, but Secret Loser, I kind of like that song. Even Never Know Why, you know? And I have to get back to my Kansas City bootleg, you know, which I got back before I had this. I would listen to those songs from Ultimate Sin, but I kind of half-ass listened because it wasn't in the Ultimate Sin. I want to go back and check that concert out now. And what else is good? Fool Like You is pretty good too. So happy to have that one in the fold. Number 11, that would be April Wine's The Nature of the Beast. This one I actually got like a year or two ago. All right, just got around to it earlier this year, and a damn fine album it is. Catchy songs, tight riffs, tasty hooks. They're probably a great live band, but a healthy dose of the studio-only flavorings that are in here. Guitar overdubs, you know, vocals with sound effects here and there. You know, really just makes this a great, solid record. Telling Me Lies, all over town. Crash and Burn's awesome. Of course, Son of the Gypsy Queen's Killer. What else? There's something else on here I really like. Bad Boys, I think it might be. Animal Grace is waiting up there on the shelf. I've heard it's not as good, but, you know, let me be the judge of that. At number 11, April Wine, Nature of the Beast. Before we go any further, quick giveaway. That's right, another subliminal giveaway. Nothing special here, nothing too special, but if any of you guys want this early press Ozzy, A Blizzard of Oz CD. It's a little scratched. It plays fine, okay? But as you can see, it's a Japanese, made for USA, CBS disc. All right, just drop a comment in the comments. Just say, put me in the running, okay? I'll get it to you. You're gonna have to email me. I'll tell you how to do it when you win. You're gonna have to give me your address so I can mail it to you. All right, it's nothing special. It's your generic early press Ozzy, Blizzard of Oz. Came across another. I got both of these this year, so I'll keep the better one. I'll give you guys this one. It's a little scuffed up, like I said, but it's not too bad. All right, put a comment in the comments. Just say, put me in the running for the Ozzy CD. There you go. If you skip to the end, you missed that out. You missed out on that, John. All right, coming in at number 10. Get this stack closer to me. Moody Blues. And they have a bunch of great albums in a row, or so I've heard. I've got most of them back there, but I only got to this one this year. On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969. I think it's their 4th album overall. And went to number 1 in the UK. I got a nice edition here with all these bonus tracks on it. That's kind of cool. BBC stuff. I don't think I played that. I just played the regular album. But man, and I only heard it once, and I think this album is excellent. The reason I got so many albums in this countdown that I've only heard once, I never hear something once and think it's great, and I'm wrong, all right? I might hear it once and say it's not that good and be wrong. I never hear an album once and go, wow, that was great, and then listen to it a second time and go, nah, I was wrong, that stinks. You know what I mean? So this countdown does have some albums I've only heard once. This would be one of them, but man, it is so good. Lovely to See You has always been one of my favorite songs by these guys. You know, they don't have many songs with a lot of guitar. That's one of them. Dear Diary's awesome. I think that used to be on a cassette I used to have. This is the Moody Blues compilation. Never Comes the Day is awesome. The whole album's great. You really can't argue that this album's not great. So number 10 is some Moody Blues that I need to get back to, obviously. Coming in at number 9, Loggins and Messina. Thought this was their debut. That's all it's called, Loggins and Messina. All right, this is the first of 3 albums on this list where I used to own best ofs, and the best ofs I didn't really get into too much, you know. They had some great songs, but just didn't flow properly. This rectifies that. It has a few hits, but the album is just solid throughout. And several short numbers, probably not as good as the longer ones. All right, but it sets up those longer songs really nicely. Good Friend, brilliant meld of funk, elements of Poco and Manassas, and also sort of hints at where Loggins was headed with his sort of, you know, blue-eyed soul thing he would do later on. But likewise with their folk and blues numbers like Whiskey, Golden Ribbons that are in here, they kind of set up the other material on here, okay? Awesome Angry Eyes that just totally rocks at the end of the album. That's preceded by one of those more bluegrassy numbers. What can I tell you? This is just a great album. 1972's Loggins and Messina. Not a bad song on this one either. Another sort of surprise. I think that was a pickup from that 82 CDs for $1 each batch. Now, number 8. Another one of those best ofs I had that didn't work for me, but this album did. Year of the Cat by Al Stewart, 1976. File this one alongside the Loggins and Messina, and that every song delivers, you know, in one way or another. And the album just flows versus the best of Al Stewart that I had in the late 80s, early 90s. A little bit of a mix stylistically. The lyrics, kind of like short little novels. Al Stewart's got a certain style, but he bends and tweaks it here on this album to keep the flavors sort of mixed up. Title track's awesome. The other 8 songs are all very solid. Midas Shadow would be my favorite one besides the title track. And then Broadway Hotel's another one that's really good. But everything on here is very good, really. So the CD sound, by the way, I forgot to mention that when I talked about this before. At least I think I forgot to. The sound quality is awesome. I just realized, it's prepping for this episode, Alan Parsons produced this. No wonder it sounds so damn good. That makes sense. This album ended up going platinum. Not surprised why. And Year of the Cat comes in number 8 for me. New to me this year. Number 7 is a recent pickup. This would be from Steve Miller Band's Circle of Love from 1981. I'd call it a more pop than rock gem, but a gem it is. Usual melodies and harmonies you're used to with Steve Miller, just plain damn catchy songs. Limited guitar. But that limited guitar makes the guitar just that much more sort of impactful when it comes in. The whole album, really good. I honestly love it all. And that includes what was originally the entire side 2 called Macho City. 16.5-minute song. Really funky, danceable song. Got some of those psychedelic effects in there that Steve used in the mid-70s, late 70s too, going on with the guitar and stuff. It's just a really cool song, cool album. Steve Miller comes in. Number 7. At number 6, another more recent thing. Now, I got this about a year ago. I didn't start really getting into it till the last month or two. That would be the Scorpions, Taken by Force. 1978, final album with Uli Jon Roth. Bit more towards the sort of standard metal approach on here, but still plenty of bluesy stuff still in there by Uli Jon, I'm sure. Seems like when he left the band, a lot of that left the band. Still, it's just a great album all the way through. Another one. Enough Roth influence still in there to make the old school Uli Jon fans happy. We'll Burn the Skies Killer. I've Got to Be Free, another great one. There's your sort of funky, bluesy stuff. Cells of Charon, just a classic. Are there any songs on here that aren't great? Not really. They're pretty much all good, you know. First impression was that it was much more of like a structured sound. That was my initial listen like almost a year ago. But when I got back into this record a month or two ago, I started to notice that there's plenty of Uli Jon sort of bluesy, funky riffs still tucked away in there. All right. Great album. Scorpions come in at number 6. I'm still playing this a lot lately. Some of these might be higher if I was doing this a month from now. All right. Coming in at number 5. Another one you could file under that sort of analogy there. Alcatraz, No Parole from Rock and Roll. One that I picked up a year or two ago. I played it once. I kind of put it away. I pulled it back off the shelf a month or two ago. And man, I've been loving this. Got 2 plays in the last couple weeks. Man, really digging it. Yngwie's on there, of course. But the album is so good. He's sort of like the icing on the cake, really. He's not like the main reason why this is great. You know, love all the keyboard use. Very Deep Purple. This album, to me, honestly, I have to throw this out there. This is kind of the reunion album that Deep Purple wish they had made, all right? It does sound a lot like Jon Lord on keyboard. You know, it's got that same sort of organ tone, keyboard tone as Jon Lord. Now, the music, it's more rocking and stuff. But, you know, I can see it's very in that Purple range of style of music overall. Another album of all very good to great songs. Entire first side is just excellent. Too Young to Die, Suffer Me. It's currently I'm in the still and being enjoyed pile, like I said, or it may have been higher than number 5. But No Parole for Rock and Roll will be number 5 for me, even though I picked it up last year. On to number 4, and it's Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tillerman from 1970. Simply put, it's just a classic. Brilliant songwriting, great lyrics, just timeless stuff. It really is. Another album that I played, and when it was done, I just let it play all over again a couple months back. Their stories, their lessons, they're kind of both at the same time, the lyrics here. The music's so perfect that when the demos were submitted to Island Records, founder and producer himself, Chris Blackwell, for the only time this ever happened in his career, he said, "There's nothing for me to do here. All right, just go into the studio and re-record the demos." Now, I'm sorry, I've never heard of that before. Have you ever heard a story like that? You must have a great, pretty much perfect album, and that's what I think it is. I think it's like a perfect album. Classics like Wild World, Father and Son are on here. Where Did the Children Play? But there's other stuff like Longer Boats. It's like South Pacific folk chant thing going on. It just breaks up the drama of the more serious songs, but no less engaging. You know, also tunes like Sad Lisa is really pretty much just like a ballad. But man, a beautiful one, you know, at that. So I just kind of realized that there's a 50th anniversary of this out there. And man, I'm going to have to probably go for that. Honestly, this is how great this album is. And not to mention, it's also very reasonable. $60. 2 albums. The album, I think a 2020 remaster on vinyl. Then a live EP on vinyl. 5 CDs, I won't get into the details. but a Blu-ray, I mean, it is a packed $60 box set. Really looks enticing. So that would be Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tillerman, coming in at number 4 for me. Now, he's someone also that I used to just have greatest hits of. So I think I need to start getting all his regular albums. Coming in at number 3, and this is something I just got a month ago, and it's Mountains Climbing, their 1970 debut. Third of 3 bands in this countdown where the best ofs didn't work for me. I got rid of my Best of Mountain. It was okay, but it just didn't flow right. This one just kicks your ass from front to back, all right? What's not to love here? 1970 magic, basically. Instruments just sound so earthy. This is just magic to my ears, this kind of recording. No digital bullshit will ever equal the amazing guitars and equipment and bluesy influence that bands had at this point, Of course, you got great rock and blues songs, balls out performances that just crush it. Mississippi Queen, that was really fun to hear after not hearing it for a long time. But also, Never in My Life, that's another great one. And Silver Papers, killer. Sitting on a Rainbow, is that the name of that one? That's great too. That just rules. That drum intro, and then that riff that comes in on that one. It makes me want to start up a band, and I haven't played in a band in a couple years now. But I also have Nantucket Sleigh Ride to get into next, but I'm still enjoying this. I'm not even going to go into that album until I'm done playing the hell out of this. Greatness, and this would probably be higher than number 3 if I didn't just start getting into it in the last few weeks. So Mountains Climbing comes in at 3. Coming in at number 2, David Gilmour's Lookin' Strange. He's on everyone's list, I know. But I'm a huge Gilmour and Floyd fan, so of course it's going to be on mine too. This will be your standard CD, 2024 release, of course. Now, I thought On an Island was great, and that Rattle That Lock was also very good. You can even say great. So it's no surprise that Lookin' Strange is yet another solid one, albeit sort of pared down affair compared to those other albums and also the Gilmour-led Floyd albums. So less Floydian in a way, doesn't have those little breaks and bridges that are sort of mysterious and sound effects and things. A little bit more just straight ahead blues and just some simpler approaches to the material. But it's no less engaging than his past material. Really good melodic songwriting, lots of reflective lyrics. Dave's more coarse, older voice sort of fits that stuff really well, actually. And of course, that amazing guitar is still there to anchor it all down. Now, yeah, it was a letdown live, his guitar playing anyway, but it sounds great here, as you would expect in the studio. Great moody album. My favorites were initially the title track, maybe Piper's Call, Between Two Points with Daughter of Romany. But now I'm starting to get more towards the back end of the album. Dark and Velvet Nights, Sings and Scattered. And Lookin' Strange still one of my favorites. But that goes to tell you something right there. Along the way, every song on this album's been among my favorites. So it's just a bunch of great songs. You got a couple of shorter numbers on there. They're still interesting and cool. They set up the song to follow very nicely. I've heard this 5 or 6 times at this point. It's been probably over a month, so I'm due to revisit it, and the wife got me for Christmas the album on vinyl, which is kind of cool. I think this version, I'm going to guess it's from Target. We shop there a lot. Exclusive translucent sea blue vinyl. That looks cool. And man, this will be cool to play on vinyl. Actually, as soon as we get done here, I'm going to make some dinner, and this is going to be on while I'm making it. Reheating that pizza, that is. And that'll bring us to, speaking of vinyl, the only format that I own for my favorite New to Me album, 2024. I admit I haven't played it since early 24, but I think I got up to 8 listens to this back earlier in the year when I first got it. That would be Tom Johnson of the Doobie Brothers. I know everyone's going to be like, dude, you got to be freaking crazy. Well, I'm into what I'm into, and like I said, this is my favorite new albums of the year. All right? So let's talk about this for a minute. Let me explain myself. All right, it's called Everything You've Heard Is True. It's from 1979. Tom Johnston, who had to basically leave the Doobies at the end of 75, health reasons. he had bleeding ulcers, you know, and life on the road wasn't going to help that situation much. So he did appear on a couple songs on Taking It to the Streets in 1976. But then he basically was fully out of the band. He played some of the shows on that tour, but not too many. And he couldn't carry on. So it takes him until 79 to get his act together to come back with this album. Everything You've Heard Is True. So going in, I knew a few songs from seeing him on Soundstage, 1979. A DVD that I got in trade. Used to trade concerts a lot through the mail with people. And, you know, the CDs basically always run in the $25, $30, $35 range. So I ran across this vinyl for 10 or 12 bucks about a year ago. Really happy with this. It's in great shape. So Doobies fans at the time, you know, after having Michael McDonald lead the band for 2-3 years, were really hoping that this was going to be a return to early Doobie Brothers sound. Unfortunately for them, but not an issue at all for me, is that this album was contemporary to, you guessed it, 1979. At best, for those early Doobies only fans, it sounded like a 79 Doobies album, but just had Tom singing. For me, I love both eras of the Doobies. Everything they did from 70 to 82, I'm down with, all right? First song, Down Along the River, funky, danceable, all right? Maybe, it's a really good song to me. I could see where older Doobie fans might not like it. Show Me, the second song, another funky one. Horns in there, jazzy keyboards, almost sounds like Michael McDonald playing. Classic chorus that sounds like Doobies all the way, like from the early 70s. It sounds like Tyran Porter, the bass player, is part of that batch of singers. I don't think he's listed on the app, but it sounds like him. You know, now neither of those first two songs are amazing, but they are good. And to me, this is a long lost Doobie Brothers album. All right, on the surface, to the layman, it's not. Underneath those modern sounds are tons of classic Doobie Brothers elements, although they will range from 1970 up to 79. That's the thing. So some people don't like anything that sounds like it's past 75. So I'm not one of those folks. Savannah Nights. This is a great song. I think this was the single. Is it disco? Maybe. It's got some of those elements, you know, the percussion and things in the background, even though it's just that at heart, the rhythm is classic Tom Johnston strum rhythm, like he did on how many songs with the Doobies early on. 3 good songs to start the record. Fourth one, I Can Count on You, this real off-time beat, sort of scratchy vocal he's doing, just something different. Small Talk Time, really what once were Vices or now Habits style, 74 sounding song. Reaching Out with Nicolette Larson, pretty damn good soft rocker, all right? Outlaw, kick-ass hard rocker, old Doobies fans would be into this one. All right, Man on the Stage, more classic Doobie Brothers rock, really good one. To me, this is a long lost Doobie Brothers album, but it sounds like it could have been written anytime between 72 and 79. I mean, the elements within the songs span that entire era. So if you don't like that entire era, you won't probably like this album. But anyway, that's my favorite record pickup out of 30 others, 29 other great ones, all right? And if you didn't see an album on here that I mentioned that I got this year, that's because I'm just still getting into it, all right? But Everything You've Heard Is True from Tom Johnston comes in at number 1 for me. Really cool record that he did. All right, loving that one. I'll have to get back to it though. 8 listens, they were all like 8 or 10 months ago. So what I'm thinking about doing on an upcoming video episode that we'll get to in January, maybe we'll do a DVD, CD, DVD special. Combo packages, whether they're commercial or bootleg. Been listening to a few lately or watching them. Now here's one. Larry, dude, I only got to CD 1 of this. I still need to play CD 2, so that's not on the countdown for that reason. I still haven't watched the Blu-ray either, so this would be a perfect example. CD, Blu-ray package. All right, from Hendrix, live in Maui. All right, here's one I haven't got to yet. I picked up a year or two ago. Give Me Back My Bullets, Lynyrd Skynyrd. I listened to the record, the CD once. Haven't got to the DVD. I think it's a 76 concert, maybe Winterland or something. I'm not even sure. Let's go back and check. Here's one I want to watch because it's been a while. I used to like the video back in the day. I used to have the album, special price, extended play, right? I think it used to say on the cover. U2's Blood Red Sky from '83. This is a nice little package I picked up at $10 for Best Buy. It was going for $30, and then post-Christmas, they had this awesome sale. It's when I picked up the Live Aid 4 DVDs for $10. I picked this up for $10 also. The CD album, just the 8-songer, not an extended version, but the full, what used to be VHS on DVD. All right, so we can delve into that a little bit. I might put this on because it's tomorrow, New Year's Eve, something like that. Duran Duran. No, I'm not really into them that much, but this early era I kind of like. And I like to change it up every now and then. What's this? MTV New Year's Ball, 1982. I got this a year and a half ago. I still haven't played it or watched it. That's how I roll. You guys know that. But I was checking. I did watch this whole video the other day. Boston Giants Stadium, 79. Great show. You know, I don't know if I ever listened to it, to be honest with you, but I watched it twice now. Really good one. So maybe we'll do a DVD, CD package special coming up on the video episode. There's one more that I've been checking out lately too. Some Blue Oyster Cult. Guys, I think that's going to do it. That's my favorite 30 new to me albums for this year in 2024. I hope you're all having good damn time. I'm getting a little tired. All right, man. Guys, I'm down with the Hardwood Bourbon Barrel. It's not blowing me away, but it's a solid stout, and it's bourbon barrel aged. So maybe it is doing its job. I'm starting to stutter. All right, guys. I'll catch you all later. See you on some more Best of 2024. Going to do one on videos, one on bootlegs, and one on albums that I recovered this year. That's a short one. I think there was only 10 or 12. Catch us all later, everyone. Have a good day.